Thanks for tuning in to Discover Stories on Reimagine Radio. Before we get started, here's a word from our sponsor.
Do you wish you had a voice in making some of the world's most popular websites more accessible? Fable is recruiting a community of paid assistive technology users who work from home to test websites and provide feedback on how they can be improved. We're currently recruiting testers who use Dragon, voice control, eye tracking, switch controls, and head mice. No resume, no cover letter, and no experience with user testing is required. Learn more and apply at www.makeitfable.com/community.
And how important have you seen recreation manifest in those situations?
So recreation has been, sometimes it's a little bit of a, I should know this answer. I'm trying to think of those stories because there's so many. Oftentimes it's that connection. So when we're able to get them out to try something that they've never done before, sometimes it's maybe they haven't moved in that way in a very long time. They haven't allowed themselves to explore their body or express themselves in a way because they thought it might be dangerous, or they thought, well, I can't do that because I might fall,
right?
Or people might not like me. So there's also the fear of if you're trying to connect with others, if they haven't connected socially with others in quite a long time outside of the context of their disability or the healthcare needs that they're going through, they often don't know anything else. They don't have a lot of knowledge or built up experience in other areas. And so just being able to try something different is huge. Suddenly you get conversations about what about this? What about that? And then working with young adults was kind of was a lot of that I noticed, was that suddenly we were discovering a whole part of them that they hadn't been able to explore yet. And that was really empowering.
Cool. Do you often find that with the older clients, or not even older, but just the non-young adult clients, that they can rediscover a passion that they had before?
Even more so, because I think youth have this kind of blasé kind of experience. You're
Totally.
it was fun, I guess. And then next thing you know, they're like, it was so cool. But they say it behind your back. But but then with older adults, right now I'm actually working on the neuromuscular and skeletal floor, which sees, anybody from, experiencing who's had amputations or sometimes burns, a lot of lung transplant clients. We see a little bit of everything. We're kind of the miscellaneous floor, as they say. And for a lot of those people, they've either had chronic illnesses and they've been sick for quite a long time. And so when I meet them and we start exploring, things that they could do, I often get a sense of what do you mean I could do that? Are you sure? I don't know. And I'm like, well, we can try. You're here, you're supported by all these people. Why not give it a go? And then
That's
usually a thing that I can think about the most is we have some adapted bikes here. And it's always, I never get tired of it. The moment I sit them in the bike and we figure out the fit and we realize, okay, now you can push through this. And they're like, I haven't gotten off the couch in 3 years. The most I've done in terms of walking is, to and from the kitchen, maybe a little bit outside my neighborhood just to stay a little bit active. But, they're like, this is the first time I felt the wind rushing through my hair. And that is just such an amazing moment because I think they value it a little bit more just because, they've had a bit more experience under the sun and
totally.
They've got a lot more experience as well to pull back from and be like, this is reminding me of this. And I haven't done this since I was in my 20s and I didn't think I'd ever be able to do this again. So if anything, I think they have a bit more gratitude sometimes. They certainly show it a little bit better. But ultimately, I think you can see the benefits right off the bat when it's something that's somebody truly enjoys or is, it's kind of being able to explore.
Yeah, that's amazing. Is biking
Mhm.
a pretty common recreational activity that you end up doing with clients?
Yeah, so I think the most common, if we stay within the realm of like physical goals or physical
Sure.
activity, cycling, swimming, getting back in the water.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah, cycling and swimming, I think, are two kind of big um, physical goals that people ask for. And so we evaluate that. We kind of say, okay, is this a realistic goal? And this actually brings in, while we're on the topic of cycling, we have this awesome organization here as well called BC MOS, so
Yeah.
BC Mobility Opportunity Society. And one of my colleagues in the last couple of years was able to develop an adapted cycling program at Pacific Spirit Park.
So cool.
So cool. And I think it was something that was lacking. We were seeing so many people who wanted to get back on their bikes or wanted to get that freedom again, and even if they weren't being able to get back on, a two-wheel bike, they were open to a trike, right? A three-wheeled bike. Um, but there was a few barriers, and those barriers were those bikes are expensive.
Right.
They're
Yeah.
very expensive, right?
Yeah, normal bikes are
Sometimes.
expensive, let alone like adapted bikes.
Exactly. An
Yeah.
adapted bike that's normally, it's not mass produced. It's
Mm-hmm.
something that is a little bit pricier. They take up a lot of space. They take up way more space
Very
than your
true.
regular bike. And sometimes because people's experience in disability has often led them to have to downsize, it's just not space that they have available.
Right.
So we found that we were getting a lot of people into biking and cycling, but ultimately there was nowhere in the community for them to go and actually engage in this activity. And sometimes a lot of people also don't have the social supports or the connections to go cycling with them, just to make them
Right.
feel a bit more safe, but also to have that social participation. So now that we have this community partnership with BC Moss, it's a lot easier now for us to be like, absolutely, you want to go biking? Let's do that. We're going to set you up with a bike. We'll, see what it is that you need. We'll adapt what needs to be adapted, and then we'll connect you with this organization so that you can actually have an outlet to go cycling in nature versus around our little figure eight that we have here.
Yeah,
I think
that's
we need to
awesome.
get you out, but and that's just been such an amazing thing because we're doing the skill building, but then we're also doing the community reintegration, and that's really what I think these community partnerships is all about.
Totally.
And as for swimming is the other big one, and I say that water is the equalizer for a lot of
Mm,
people, right? It makes us a bit lighter. It helps us float. And for a lot of people, it's, if you're sitting in a chair for most of the day, or you don't get a lot of opportunities to stand and walk, either because of reduced balance or mobility. Um, yeah, water can be just an amazing way to experience those things again, and experience movement that you may not have tried before because it's a little bit, maybe a little bit dangerous or a little bit more of a falls risk.
yeah, totally.
Yeah, so I think people experience a lot of freedom once they've developed the confidence of how they can move and access aquatic environments.
Cool. So this wouldn't be for all clients I know, but do you find that some of them sort of with that a goal to accomplish something like to get better at biking or to
Mm.
do you find like that goal sometimes can like really get some people out of their shells and really sort of energize them?
Oh yeah, and sometimes it's just being outside. We know that just when we're feeling tired or a little bit low,
Mhm.
um, we don't have a lot of energy. Sometimes it's because we haven't been active, or we know that physical activity in some form does help increase our energy, increase our alertness, our focus.
Right.
Um, and so just getting people outside, and you're going to see a totally different person,
Hmm.
right? Because now they're connecting with something that's bigger than them, or they're connecting with memories, or right areas of the city that they haven't been in a long time, and then suddenly you got a conversation about, oh yeah, I was like 5 when my dad brought me over here, and like, oh yeah, this beach I used to, we would always bring our family dog here, and I've got great memory. And then there
Cool.
is so many new ways to connect, and having these very lighthearted conversations, which I think a lot of people either haven't had in a long time, just
Yeah.
takes the focus away from themselves as well, and suddenly you're able to,
A sense of normal,
just
hey?
a sense of normal, and just, I'm a person in this environment, and
That's
I'm
good.
getting to appreciate it, and no one's asking me, you know why am I not, it's just, I'm here,
Yeah,
right? Like, and
totally.
it's like I'm taking part, I'm engaging in my community. um yeah, and that's really cool.
Okay, awesome. Um,
Mhm.
I had asked a question. What are some common misconceptions about rec therapy? You had kind of said that
Oh
most people
yeah.
don't even know it exists, so I'm not sure that there are a lot. But if you've encountered any like people assumptions they make about your job that maybe you want to
Yeah,
set
so
straight.
misconception. So although recreation therapy is often, I think, because we're often missed, or people don't think about recreation therapy at all, it's just that they also make quick assumptions as to the work that we do when they see
Right.
what it is that we're doing with clients. And that's totally fair. The big misconception, I think we can all agree among the rec therapist kind of little social circle, is we are often considered the fun people. They'll tell us, oh, you get to do all the fun stuff, which, by all means is totally true. Again, as I said earlier, it's the best job in the world, according to me.
Yeah.
But ultimately, we are also working with people who are going through a really scary and difficult period of their lives. And so I think I mentioned this earlier, but trying to help them find even a little bit of spark or something that can make them happy can be quite challenging. Right? Sometimes they're going to be like, no, this is not for me. Let me sit in these emotions, and like, that
Hmm.
is okay, and we have to respect that. But ultimately, if we can help that one person to find just one thing that can bring back, some purpose and meaning to everything that they're currently doing, all the hard work that they're doing in their rehab, like, what is it for?
Yeah.
Then that, I think, is what's really empowering. And um, yeah,
That's cool.
ultimately, I think a lot of people think about recreation therapy as recreation activities. And yes, we do recreation activities, but recreation therapy is not recreation activities.
Right.
Recreation therapy is goal oriented. Which means that we work one-to-one with folks to identify the problem, we target a goal, and we identify the interventions or the activities that'll help them meet that goal. Um,
Cool.
yeah. So we are fun,
Yeah.
but we also do all the, it's there's a lot involved in what we do, and we put a lot of time and effort into it.
Yeah.
And so
Totally. It's
yeah,
not recreation, it's recreational therapy. Keyword.
exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yeah. And if we can get people to just be able to eventually take that on their own and go enjoy recreation activities with the skills that they've learned, and this is it's an interdisciplinary effort.
Right.
It's not just us, like, we're not the belly button of the world. It takes a whole team, and I think that's so important. Everything that they've learned from their OTs, their PTs, their social workers, their physiatrists, their sexual health workers, their nurses, all of that is so important in just helping people find the confidence to just get back out there again.
I think it's a
So,
testament really to how great the people at GF are. We sit down here in the basement a lot, but from what we've seen of like some community events, it seems like a really great place to
you
work
guys
and
are a
to
part of
be.
the whole. You're a part of the whole. Don't worry about that. So,
Yeah. Anyways, we are getting close to the time on our Zoom meeting. So sad, but I think that was most of what I wanted to ask. So we'll probably just leave it there. Thanks so
yeah.
much for this interview. It was great. Went really smoothly.
Yay! Thank you so much for having me. It was really lovely getting to talk to you about all of this, and I hope that for people who are listening, You don't necessarily, if you don't have access to a recreation therapist, just go to your local community center, check out the guide, talk with the people there. They're more than willing to just, work with you to see what it is that you'd like to do. In Vancouver, there's the Leisure Access Pass, if that's something that's applicable to you. And just the benefits of getting out, go get some sunshine, see how that feels.
Totally.
Yeah.
I need to get out and see some sunshine sometime soon as well.
Yeah, now that it's finally coming out, just sit out there and enjoy the sun rays.
Yeah,
It'll
awesome.
feel good.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I'm sure I'll see you around soon, but...
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Thanks, Noah.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.